Hello and welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a reading for Pisces. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there's the Hanged Man. Very interesting. Let's put that into some context. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. And as I lay these cards out, if there's anything you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know, okay? I'm going to finish up now. Path of the Serpent. Wow. This is very, very strong energy today. Very, very strong. We're going to use the Waite-Smith deck for our mystery card. We're just going to select a random card as randomly as possible. Alien can go on top. We're going to set it aside. We're not looking at it until the very end. And hopefully that card will, tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need. So, major, 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 major. A lot of majors. We got earth and air. Some fire, a little more earth. So it's, there's not a lot of water energy. The water that we see is really centered in this Hanged Man card. This is really intense. There's a lot of strong energy here. We got some real. We've got a lot of this expansive energy, right? With the Fool, with this Universe or World card, I see a lot of expansion, and then we have a lot of contraction, a lot of coming back together again. Right? We've got the Death card. We've got the Lovers card. So I feel like we need to separate and expand to come back together and unite and grow. And that leads to positive change coming quickly. All right? The first step here, though, is to realize what position you're in. To realize the forces that are around you. And I really think that there are some divine forces that are activating in your life right now, because on the vertical axis of the path of the dove here, we see all major arcana. We see Fool, Hanged Man, and that Death card, that transformation card. This is really about, I think, spirit, your divine energy, God, goddess, deity, the universe, whatever you believe in, the void, the nothing, the absolute, is really creating this opportunity for you to transform yourself, to merge with the divine, right? And I think really to discover your true path, to hear the message from Spirit, and to get started with the rest of your life. Like, get on with what you're supposed to be doing, your kind of divine purpose. We don't see any other water energy here except for this card. This is you going and finding the water energy. The Hanged Man is diving into that infinite ocean. And the water energy here represents your sense of destiny, your sense of purpose. What you connect with. What is the meaning of your life? We have to go and find that, right? And that's the Hanged Man, diving into it. Realizing what kind of a position we're in. Realizing perhaps that we've maybe been in this Fool energy. Could be. We'll get to the Fool here in a minute. I feel like this is a letting go of everything that we've believed. This is a suspending of judgment. This is a suspension of, maybe not suspending your disbelief, suspending your belief, right? Don't take anything as given. Don't take anything for granted. Don't take anything as being an absolute certainty. Right? We have to investigate everything. We have to reflect upon everything. It's water energy. We have to reflect, right? We have this air energy that we need to use, but to use the air energy, we have to know what we're applying it to. The air energy decides, takes apart, analyzes, figures things out. We have to know what we're looking at. We have to actually have something in front of us to take apart. That's the reflection. That's the water energy. What you believe about yourself, what you believe about your place in the world, in the universe. We have to dive in and learn that stuff. We have to have that self-reflection. So I think Spirit is really calling on you to listen right now, to reflect and to listen and to immerse yourself in these kind of divine holy waters, to discover who you are and what you're meant to do and what your purpose is. Okay? And I think that you're in the process of doing that. I think you're someone you're trying to let go of things. You're trying to be open to the possibilities of new beliefs, new understanding, new connections, new sense of meaning and purpose, right? So the Hanged Man is kind of about letting go. Maybe we're holding on to stuff that has, is comfortable now, is warm, it's familiar, it feels good, it's comforting, right? But we know we need to let things go, or at least suspend our belief in those things. What are we clinging to that maybe is kind of keeping us from making progress? What are we clinging to thinking it has all of the meaning in the world? Maybe we need to step back and look at it, reflect upon how we feel in order to move forward and to hear this message. Okay. Now, with this Fool energy down beneath everything, this could be your current general energy or the general vibe that you have kind of been having, and this is a little bit haphazard kind of. It's a very expansive energy. It's air, right? It is very cheerful and joyful and likes to do a lot of different things and is very open to possibilities, but there's really no direction here. There's no direction, there's no connection. There's no meaning to this activity, right? This is a lot of stuff, a lot of experience, a lot of consciousness, a lot of expansive consciousness. You're trying to experience everything, right? You're trying to consume everything, experientially. You're trying to absorb as much consciousness as you can to just fill and fill and fill and fill, but there's no real direction to that, right? It's just whatever comes along, you're open to it. It's a force that has a lot of power, but no direction, right? And all of that power is lost in this kind of equal expansion in every direction, right? So it kind of loses force. If we could channel all of that, all of this power, all of this consciousness, if we could point it in one direction, it would be unstoppable, right? So this is all of your force, all of your energy, all of your curiosity, all of your sense of adventure and your wonder, all of your real expanding awareness that is just kind of lost in maybe frivolous things. Again, what we need is that direction. And I think Spirit is asking you to reflect on that. To consider how we've been kind of existing. And are we kind of just like the wind? Are we just blowing in different directions depending on the day, right? Do we not have a focus? Do we not have a central understanding of ourselves, of who we are and where we are? What is our relationship to the whole, to the world, to the universe? Do we have a plan? Do we have a purpose in all of these activities, all of these interests, all of these relationships, everything, right? It's not just one particular thing. It's just this general vibe of trying to do everything, which I think is fine, is good, right? It's good to have that sense of curiosity and wonder where you want to consume everything. You want to learn everything. You want to read every book. You want to meet every person. That's a little impractical, a little bit. I can relate to that, though, because I feel like that sometimes. I want to read every book, you know. But I can't. I know that my efforts, while well-intentioned, might really be wasted, right? They may not amount to anything. All of the effort that I'm putting into these millions and millions of things aren't really accomplishing anything. But if I take all of that effort and I put it into just a few things, different story. I think Spirit is really asking you to reflect on this. What you're doing with your energy. How are you dissipating all of your spiritual force, right? All of your consciousness. It's expansive. It's fun. It's a great energy to have, the Fool energy. But if that is the core of who we are, or if that is the position from which we are acting and living, I think we're missing a larger connection here, you know. But it could be, you know, also through this Fool energy that's how you are discovering, right? Maybe if we combine the Fool energy with the Hanged Man energy, suddenly there is a purpose now. All of this experimentation, all of this activity, all of this consciousness expansion is for a purpose. It's for you to interpret, for you to reflect upon, to find the message, to find the needle in the haystack, you know, to find that one thread that's going to lead you out of the labyrinth, give you that sense of direction and purpose. And maybe this kind of energy is your direction, is your purpose, but we won't know that until we really reflect upon this data, this feeling, this experience. So the way to discover your kind of true will, your divine purpose, the meaning of your life, maybe is through this Fool energy. To be open to every possibility until you can narrow it down a little bit, right? Because the Fool energy by itself, again, is just going to be a lot of wasted effort that really isn't going to find what it's looking for, because it doesn't know that it's even looking for anything, right? The Fool energy is good, but we need to add something to it. Adding that Hanged Man to it, that's a pretty good start, I think. Okay? And what we're ultimately setting out on, what our ultimate kind of path is right now, is this growth. It is this kind of rebirth into who we are. Right? You're not changing who you are. You're not. The butterfly is still the caterpillar that it began as, just in a different form, right? It's still the same goop, you know. We're still the same goop, but we've blossomed now into this fully realized self, okay? And this is the ongoing process. This is kind of the result of Fool plus Hanged Man equals growth. This is the death card, but this isn't about the death. In some ways it is. You know, we have to kind of let go of what we believed, let go of some of the things that we've been clinging to, right? Ideas or beliefs or behaviors or whatever. We have to be able to let go of those things. So it is kind of like a death. But the card really is trying to emphasize the rebirth that takes place. Now, that rebirth is not just a one and done, you know? It's not just one fact, one occurrence in life, in nature. It's a process that is happening continuously, right? Like creation didn't just happen, I don't believe. I don't think it was just, okay, there's stuff now. The process of creation is ongoing. It's never ending, right? It is an ongoing, it is a verb. It's not just a noun. So this transformation that you're undergoing, this metamorphosis, this becoming a fully realized version of you, is an ongoing process. So it's going to continue with Fool, Hanged Man, and this transformative process, Fool, Hanged Man, and whatever other energies you bring into it, universe, lovers, is all part of this ongoing, continuous process, this action of transformation, of being born, right? So I think that is kind of the message. In a practical way, on the horizontal plane, what's going on here? Well, the 9 of discs here. This is in the recent past. This is what's kind of come before. And this is a lot of kind of incoming abundance. This is a lot of health and wealth, I like to say. A lot of gain, right? A lot of possessions, a lot of stuff, a lot of progress, maybe in career, maybe in your health. You've seen some gains, some progress, right? And this has the potential because having this stuff come in, whether it's money, whether it's a restoration of your health, whether this is some debt that's gone away, some repairs that have been made to your house or your car, or just the material things generally getting better, then we start to cling to these things even more. When they start to really work for us and we can see that things are getting better in our physical lives, then we get a little bit more attached to those things. Okay? And that brings us to the 10 of Wands. This is kind of an exhaustion of energy because we are so busy now maintaining this physical life that we have. The more attached we get to material things. Now, this isn't supposed to be some kind of a renunciation. We're not trying to get too metaphysical here. I think it's kind of a standard for being human, right? The more we have, the more we want. The more these things are treating us nicely, well, the more we want to go be next to them to be treated nicely, The people who are good to us, those are the people we want to be around, right? So if life is giving us abundance and we're seeing success in our jobs, career, in our creativity, in our relationships, in our health, everything seems to be getting better, well, we're gonna want to stick around and continue being next to those things because that feels good, right? That's the whole point of it all. So I feel like that is really consuming a lot of your time, a lot of your energy, being put back into these material things in order to keep improving, right? So that's a good thing. I see that it's crossing this spiritual path that we see on the vertical axis here. This is kind of, this is maybe the spiritual here, and this is the earthly mundane here, going sideways or horizontal. And the two shall meet in the middle with the Hanged Man and the 10 of Wands. It's water and fire. So it seems that there's a little bit of a conflict between your spiritual aspirations and your material, earthly aspirations, okay? A little bit of a conflict there. It's almost as if there's so much energy being devoted to the earthly aspirations that your spiritual aspirations are left with very little effort, right? Very little bit of energy left for those. So part of this process, I think, is learning how to blend the two. This is the two paths crossing, and right in the middle, it's where they meet. And that is the lotus right there in the middle. So this could be really awakening to the message that it is within these earthly aspirations that we can activate the spiritual aspirations. We need to learn where they intersect. We need to be aware that they're intersecting at every moment, right? When you get your paycheck at the end of the week, that feeling, when you're aware that things are getting better in your life, when things get worse too. It's in those moments where we can be aware of the intersection, okay? And we can start crossing the wires a little bit, right? We can start taking some of this effort and letting our spiritual aspirations kind of tap into the same power source. Because it's in those moments where we have awareness either of things getting better, things getting worse, joy or sorrow, pleasure or pain. Those moments of those feelings, that's where we can be aware of the intersection. That was a weird sentence. That's the moment of intersection, okay? So it's a conscious decision that we can make to now be aware of how these feelings, how is what I'm doing now, what I'm feeling right now, how does that relate to my spiritual aspirations? How is this part of me reflecting upon my behaviors, what I'm clinging to, what I'm focused on, and how is this all related to my transformation, my becoming, right? So we have to make a conscious decision to try to be aware of these things, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy, especially when we have so much energy devoted to our earthly life. Earthly life, the really harsh reality of earthly life is that it does take a lot of effort, right? It takes a lot of energy to do this horizontal world. So we need to tap in really to kind of link up the power sources here so we can activate all of this. And again, that lotus in the middle, that's the ability to really see how the spiritual life can grow out of the earthly life and vice versa, right? The life force is all kind of tied in together. That brings us to the universe or world card. Is your universe getting larger or smaller? Well, I think yours is getting larger because of this Fool energy. You're expanding. If this is the universe, this Fool is like the gas that expands to fill whatever container it's in. Well, what if your container is infinite? You just keep expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding. And you know what? Your concentration is going to go down. The molecules are getting further and further apart. There's the same amount of air, but now it's being required to fill the entire room rather than just this little balloon that we have here, where there'll be a higher concentration of gas here. If all that gas is let out around here, the concentration goes down. And that's kind of what we were talking about on the path of the dove, was that concentration. Okay? The energy, the awareness, the consciousness that we have, we need it to be concentrated somewhere. We need to have this sense of direction and purpose, the sense of will in our lives, right? And that doesn't mean that we have to get rid of the Fool energy. If this is built into who you are, this is a great way to be, right? This is great energy. We just need to concentrate that gas a little bit, We don't want it to dissipate too far where the concentration gets so low that it's undetectable, So, our universe is expanding, but we also, with that expansion, with this infinite universe, this is our infinite container, it's kind of hard to carve out your own little section because there's just so much to see. It's like going to Disneyland. There's no way you could see everything. Personally, I haven't been in years. I went when I was a kid. I think we went a couple of times. But, it's that cliche about Disneyland that it takes you it takes you days and days and days and days to see everything there, and you still probably haven't seen everything. So what do you do when you go to Disneyland? I wonder how many of you are Disney fans out there. Me personally, I'm kind of not really. When I was a kid, yeah, but let me know in the comments. This is a weird metaphor, but what do you do when you go to a large place like that? You have a plan, right? Maybe you kind of you know what your favorite things are. You know what you want to hit, right? I want to make sure I get to these attractions. Anything else is going to just be a bonus, but I want to make sure I have these 4 or 5 things. I know I'm going to have to wait in line for 10 hours, but I'm going to make sure that I get these things done. So that's kind of what we're talking about with the World or Universe card. It's we're never going to be able to visit every beautiful town or city in the world. Never. We have to make a list of what our favorite things are. We have to be a little bit planned, a little bit concentrated. In order to do that, we have to know who we are. Right? I could randomly pick 10 cities that I want to go visit, but do they mean anything to me? We have to reflect on what has meaning and why. Why does that have meaning to us? You know? Why is it that I have such a strong affinity for Greece and Italy? You know? Why is that? Is that because of something that my grandparents used to talk about? Or something that I used to, movies that I used to love to watch or something, or books that I've read when I was little? Why is it that I have such an affinity for those things? Is that who I am, or is that my personality? I don't know. We need to reflect. And we reflect on those things that we choose to unite with. This is the Lover's card. This could be people, this could be places, this could be things. These are what we choose to unite ourselves with. What are we marrying ourselves to? What are we clinging to? Right? The Lovers, this is what we're clinging to. So this card particularly in your environment here, this is the position, is asking you to be very discerning in those things that you choose to unite yourself with. And always refer them back to this Fool, Hanged Man, Death card. How do they align with your spiritual path? Right? Because we can't marry ourselves to everything. Right? Which is kind of the Fool. Whatever comes along, the Fool's getting married already. We have to be discerning. We have to be a little concentrated. And to do that, we need the air energy. We need this discernment, this decision making, this ability to take things apart, look at them, analyze them. We have to have the reflection so we know that we're looking at something and kind of know like why we're looking at it, what we're looking for. So this card's asking you to be discerning, to continue to unite with passion with those things that you feel drawn to, but to be selective, be discerning, and understand why you're doing it. The next card here is the Two of Discs, change. It's the position of what you don't want. You don't want change. If things are getting better for you and your earthly aspirations, we don't want that to change. We don't want that to end. No. If you feel good right now, if things are working for you, why would you want anything to change? This again is asking you to reflect. It all goes back to the Hanged Man. Are things really as wonderful right now as you may think they are? If things were to change, how would you like them to change? Because things will change. They are going to change at some point. So which direction would you like them to turn toward? How would you like things to change? Okay. That takes some reflection. Finally, we have the Eight of Wands here. I'm trying to hurry up a little bit. It's already been 30 minutes. I'm sorry this is taking so long. And I feel like this is a really important one, you know. The Eight of Wands here at the end of the Path of the Serpent is kind of the card that says we've got to do something. Something does have to change. Because if things don't change, we're stuck in this form that we're in now. We're stuck in this matrix of energy, and that's going to be building up a lot of anxiety. I think you might already be feeling that, to be honest with you, because of the Ten of Wands here, and just because of the nature of these cards in general. I feel like there's a lot of anxiety because there's a lot of energy, a lot of potential energy that's got nowhere to go, right? So the only option to relieve that anxiety is just to let that energy go everywhere, right? Because if we ever stop moving, we start getting this anxiety. It's like we have to keep moving. Otherwise, we feel this potential energy building and building and building and building. See, the eights are about structure. This card's not about movement. It's about the potential for movement. This is about energy that is kind of charging up in like a battery or something, and is just, it needs to be discharged, right? It needs to go somewhere. We got to plug it in somewhere. So what we end up doing is just letting the battery run itself out. It's not really powering anything. It's just this fool energy. It's just running. It's just depleting. So I think that this is really the signal for you, the synchronicity for you, that it is time to begin this work of reflection and letting go and embracing this spiritual aspiration that we have. Okay. This is the linchpin here. This is really, I think, what is going to kind of begin all of this, or this is what all of this energy is held together by, this idea of the buildup of this energy and then its dissipation, right? It keeps charging and then it just discharges. We need to harness that energy. Let's look at the mystery card. Thank you, Alien, for your assistance today. Can't get him to stand up. There we go. Frog has the day off this week, but he'll probably be back next week. So, mystery card. I don't have any speculation, and I don't want to put my bias into this. I'm going to just receive whatever message Spirit has for us. I feel like you are really surrounded by this divine energy, and I'm trying to just be as much of a conduit as I can and not interject my own kind of opinions onto this. It feels like the message is very clear. So let's see what we have. We see a Four of Wands. This is wonderful. The Four of Wands is taking this Eight of Wands and kind of knocking it down to a Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands is about giving form to the fire. So it is really like you found something to hook up to this battery. Now you're powering something, right? All this fire energy is now being manifested in something intentional. You've built a little campfire. You've taken your stones and you've built a circle, and the fire is there in the middle, right? You've given a form to this. And it's interesting, this card too, because this Four of Wands in the Waite-Smith deck kind of reminds me of like a wedding reception, right? So we have a wedding going on here with the Lover's card. But it kind of also feels like it's the Fool returning home. Or maybe not home, maybe a specific destination. Maybe this is the Fool has some direction now and is just about to arrive at that destination and is being welcomed. Welcome to here, wherever this is. So this is really interesting because this touches upon that anxiety, that Eight of Wands that we saw, but it touches upon the Lover's card and the Fool card and the sense of needing this direction, needing to give form to this fire. This is a beautiful card. Love this one. We're going to do an extended real quick. If you want to stick around, please click on the link right here. Thank you for letting me read for you. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for being the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot.